he is a senior advisor at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and sir is also a visiting professor at Nalsar University. Nalsar is a law university, central government's university, and sir teaches over there, and he also teaches at ISB, the Indian School of Business. So with this very short intro, and I welcome Professor Amirullah Khan sir to address all the people, those who are very eager to listen from you on what's happening around and how economics is playing a role, or how it's failing in playing its role, how the economists are contributing, and what is that we can do as citizens and students. What is that we can do? What part of economics are we required to know, and how we can contribute to the nation building through this. After sir presents his views on it and enlightens us, we will also open for a short question answer session. If somebody has got any question, they can just raise hand and we will unmute them to ask their question. Meanwhile, I request all the participants to keep their cameras switched off so that it will help us in the bandwidth, and we can have a seamless session going on. So without being for long time in between you and Professor Amirullah Khan sir, I once again invite. Thank you so much for joining this session, sir. Please, the
thank you. Thank you, Luqman. It's always wonderful to come and speak to your students. I do that every now and then. And it gives me great pleasure that so many of your students are interested in looking at, or at least wanting to know, what a career in economics means. I am assuming that all of you can hear me, so you don't have to answer this question. But if you answer it, then it means that you're not hearing me. So let me go ahead. I am going to now put up some slides on the screen to show you what I want to talk about. I'm going to talk for about 20 minutes. After that, we will have some time for questions. But what I also would encourage you is that if you can, I don't know if this allows you to chat, but if your window allows you to chat, then you can put on your questions on the chat window. If it does not allow you, then we will do the questions at the end. All right. So let me now get if Luqman can give me the capacity to share my screen.
Yes,
Luqman, you have to give me, right?
Yes.
If you allow me to share my screen, then yes, I'm going to share my screen with you.
Please try, sir. I think it's enabled now. Please try.
Yeah, it's enabled. Yes.
Okay.
It is. I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, we can.
It says a career in economics. So that is what we are going to discuss today. Can you see the screen, all of you? Luqman, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can see.
Great.
Sir. I can see.
You can
so
see the screen,
see,
right?
Yes.
So if you see the screen, I am going to talk to you about what a career in economics means. First, let me show you some people. I hope you recognize this gentleman. Right? Some of you must be knowing who this is. Let me make it slightly more difficult. Some of you may recognize who this is. Unfortunately, no more. And slightly more difficult. I don't know how many of you recognize this gentleman. Now, why am I showing you these three people? Here is Manmohan Singh. Here is Abdul Kalam. And here is Raghuram Rajan. Manmohan Singh, former Reserve Bank Governor, member of the Planning Commission, Finance Minister, Prime Minister. Possibly the most important personality we have seen in our lifetimes. Abdul Kalam, scientist, but civil servant for a long time. Our topmost civil servant, even became the President of India. Raghuram Rajan, one of the world's most famous economists. Possibly today, possibly the world's most famous economist. Former Reserve Bank Governor, but teaches economics at the University of Chicago. The reason to show you these three people is because these three people are very recognizable. The odd man out is Abdul Kalam. I just showed you him because he worked for the government. But the two important people I want you to note are Dr. Manmohan Singh and Dr. Raghuram Rajan, two of India's best known economists. Their whole career was in economics. Now, so let me answer various questions. The first question I will answer right away is that if you become an economist, where do you work? What careers do you get? And this is what you will do. There are several places that hire economists. The first one is that you get a job in something known as data analysis. Note this for the moment, just note this. I'm going to talk about it in a little while. Then the other set of jobs are in consumer research. So this is where you work on data in big organizations. This consumer research is where you work with consumer data in a lot of marketing organizations. Then if you want to work for the government, then you do policy research, where the government is your client. Of course, you can do policy research for the private sector also. A lot of you who become economists will get jobs in think tanks. What is a think tank? A think tank is a research institution that gives independent advice to the government. And some of the world's biggest think tanks I will talk to you about in a little while. You can also, if you want to work in media hires a lot of economists. Large law firms and large consultancy firms. You have heard of large consultancy firms like KPMG, PwC, Deloitte. These are all firms that hire economists. When you become really big and important, then you get hired by multilateral institutions. What are multilateral institutions? Most of you have heard of them. The biggest multilateral institution is the United Nations. The World Bank is another multilateral institution. The Asian Development Bank is a third multilateral institution. These are all institutions that hire economists. Large foundations. What are foundations? Foundations are institutions set up by very rich people who give out money. The most famous in India is the Azim Premji Foundation. Azim Premji gave to his foundation 14,000 crore rupees to be given away to education, and running the foundation are a set of economists. You can also get into the good old teaching sector. You can become an economics teacher, professor, or you can get into research and development. So in all sectors of the world, you will find that economists are required to do these kind of things. Now, note, I talked to you about data analysis. Why did I talk to you about data analysis? That is because what is the future looking like for all of you? 30 years ago, 35 years ago, when I was at your stage, writing my intermediate exam, the option was very simple. The option was that you had to take the MSET exam and either become an engineer or a doctor. There was no third choice. For most of us then, the only jobs available were in manufacturing, engineering sectors or as doctors. So the problem was not as big as it is for you today. You don't know what to do now. Now all of you, if you want to become engineers, there are 12 lakh engineers that will come out of India this year. Out of those 12 lakhs, 12,000 will get jobs. What will happen to the rest? Medicine is another story. So therefore, what do you do? So many jobs, because of technology, so many jobs are being lost. In the last 30 years, if you became an accountant, then you got a great job. If you became an auditor, you had a good job. If you wanted to join the consultancy framework, that was another place. So you could get jobs in various places depending on whether on the degree that you learned. But all these jobs now are going away. There are very few jobs for accountants anymore. There are very few jobs for engineers now. There are very few jobs for people who are working in any factory setup, because all of that is becoming automated. You must have heard about artificial intelligence. So when we ask as to what are the jobs for the future, in the next 30 years, what jobs are going to be there, then the 7 big jobs for the future I have listed here. Data architects, business analysts, compliance managers, marketing analysts, system analysts, litigation support, and a UX designer. In the last one, the UX designer is a technical person. Here is where all of you, those of you who are getting into graphic interfaces, into computer design, those doing coding, those are the people who will get this 7th job. But in the first 6 jobs, in all the first 6 jobs, the skill that is required is data analysis. And nothing teaches you better data analysis than an economics degree. That is why if you want to prepare yourself for the future world, then one very solid reason, one solid career is, and one solid degree is that of is if you do an economics degree. That is why simply for equipping yourself to get a good job, the advice that I give to all of you nowadays is to look for a career in economics. I was looking at India, just India today. Today in all these bad times of COVID, I found that in the economic data analysis space, just on one website, there are 24,000 jobs. In India today, there are 24,000 jobs for economists just on one website called Naukri.com. 4,500 of those jobs are just in Hyderabad and Secunderabad. So therefore, that's the second point I want to make, that in this area, there are lots of jobs. And the top 3 areas that we see jobs coming in are climate change, which needs economists and geographers and environment people, urban development that needs economists and planners, and third area, which is the biggest area in India, is cancer research, where we need doctors and health economists. So in all areas that you see, in all the top areas, you are looking at people with an economics degree. Why is this so? This is because the 21st century is known as the knowledge economy. The economy is going to be characterized by very fast innovation. And that is why, if you see my second line, I say that what we need today is a multidisciplinary world. And a multidisciplinary world requires people from all backgrounds. So I am not talking to just some people in this conversation. I am talking to all of you. I am talking about a career for engineers, for doctors, for lawyers, for IT people, for MBAs. All these people can become economists. I showed you one photograph, Raghuram Rajan. What is Raghuram Rajan's basic degree? Raghuram Rajan's basic degree is engineering. You will find that a lot of economists in the world today, their basic degree is engineering. Some economists, their basic degree is an MBA. Lawyers, in every law school today, one of the biggest subjects that we teach is economics. Most IT people are working on consumer research and consumer economics. If you want to get into civil service, one of the subjects that is very important for you to learn is economics. And certainly, if you want to work in policy, in the policy space, then obviously you are somebody who learns economics of a very high order. The skills that economics teaches you are the following: data collection, information, critical thinking, planning, scheduling. All these skills that you learn in an economics degree are the skills that you require for the jobs of the future. Where will you do this? I told you about think tanks of the world. Where do you get jobs? The biggest think tank in India now is a place called the Niti Aayog. It earlier used to be called the Planning Commission. The Niti Aayog takes a large number of economists who want to work with the country, with the government. In the US, the 2 big think tanks are Brookings and Rand. Brookings now has established an office in India. It looks for young Indian economists to work with them. The existing think tanks in India are the National Council for Applied Economic Research, the International Council for Research in International Economic Relations, the Research in Informal Systems, the Tata Energy Research Institute. These are all think tanks that work in India, largely in Delhi, but they are very, very big think tanks that employ hundreds and thousands of economists. International think tanks, there is a very big think tank in Washington, DC. It is called Copenhagen Consensus. That is where economists work to get to work with various developing countries across the world. India Development Foundation, the Center for Development Policy and Practice. These are 2 think tanks that I have set up, one in Delhi and one in Hyderabad. What are the questions that economists answer? I'm giving you some examples here. Why do we need economists to help the government? 20 years ago when the Delhi Metro was being launched, the question was that Is the metro a better thing, or should we have more buses? Take Hyderabad. For all of you who are in Hyderabad, is the Hyderabad metro a useful public transport system? Should we have made the metro, or should we have had put in double-decker buses? Should we have invested in trams? Should we have had just introduced more auto rickshaws? Which is the better thing to do? These are questions that economists answer. In Delhi, all buses run on compressed natural gas, which is the best fuel for your, if you want to reduce pollution, what should you do? Should buses run on diesel? Should they run on petrol? Should they run on electricity? These are questions again that economists answer. Take the lockdown issue. How long should a lockdown continue for? Has the lockdown helped? Has it reduced the number of patients? These are all questions that economists answer. In the development context, have you ever wondered about this question? Who is poor? If you want to help the poor, how do you decide whether a person is poor or not? Is somebody poor because she doesn't have a job? Is somebody poor because she doesn't have a house? Is somebody poor because they don't have food for tomorrow? Or is somebody poor because they can't pay school fees? And if people are poor, what should we do for them? Should we give them food? Should we give them a job? Should we give them reservations? Should we give them school fees? Should we give them clothes? These are all questions that economists answer for the government. One specific question in education that that we keep asking again and again, that if you want to improve education status of any society, what should you do? Should you have more schools? Which kind of schools? Should they be residential schools where children stay all 24 hours in the hostel, or should they be day schools? Should the school run from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock, from 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock? And if people don't come to school, how do we get them to school? Why do some children not come to school? Why is attendance poor? In India, about 60% students don't attend school. How do we get them to attend school? Should we give them better food, better books, better uniform? How do you improve school attendance? These are all the questions that economists ask. I have been working over the last 4 or 5 years with some institutions both in Delhi and in Hyderabad to look at what to do with the Muslim population. Why are Muslims backward? And the questions that we are asking are all these. Migration and Muslims. Who migrates? You have heard of this whole migration problem. So many migrant workers. How many of these migrant workers are Muslims? Do Muslims migrate more than non-Muslims? When migrant labor suffers, then who suffers there? Second question, housing. Should the government be responsible for providing housing to people? If they want to provide, you must have heard of the Telangana government wanting to give 2-bedroom and single-bedroom houses. So what houses should we give to the poor? Where should we give them? A third problem that people face is that of credit. If you are a small businessman, if you are selling bananas on a thela, where do you go and buy bananas from? Where do you get the money in the morning, 500 rupees in the morning, to buy 20 kilos of bananas? You take a loan. You take a loan at 30% interest. Can you return that in the evening? The question of discrimination and deprivation. Is the Muslim in India discriminated, or is the Muslim in India deprived? What is the difference between the two? Inequality. The last question is that of inequality. That is there an do we have an unequal society in the country? Why is Mukesh Ambani so rich? And why are thousands of millions of people in India, 130 million people in India, or 13 crore people in India today will go to sleep hungry? Is it right that you should have one person who owns a 7,000 crore house in Bombay and 13 crore people who will not have money to eat dinner today? Is that a right thing? And if that is the reality, what should we do about it? I will talk about this. So we study various things. Right? In economics, you study population. Which population grows? How do populations grow differently? Are Muslims growing faster than Hindus? All these questions you will be asked. If you are an economist, you can answer this question with some degree of confidence. In the corporate world, you will find that you have very few Muslims reaching at the top. If you see here in the top big companies in the country, you will have only 3% people who are Muslims in the total population. Why? Because a lot of us do not understand business, do not understand economics. This is the same thing I'm showing you here, that if you look at all the different compartments and categories in India, while nearly 45% of the forward class goes to study in college, the Indian percentage is very low. You see, 45, if you are a forward class person, then 45% of us will study more than our father. But in case of Muslims, it is the least. That is because very few of us go and study in universities. Look at Muslim enrollment in higher education. If you see that other minority communities, the proportion is nearly 5%, but Muslims in higher education, the proportion is only 2%. All right. So, what is the point that I am making? What I am telling you all is that, and now I will stop my screen. And what I want to tell you is that I hope you can see me now.
Yes, we can, sir.
You
We
can
see.
see me now, yeah? Yes. So what I'm saying is that if you are looking at a new career, if all of you want to get into places where you can answer these questions, answer these basic questions, and want to work with data, with evidence, with social sciences, with the government, then a very good career for you is to take up economics. Let me give you my example. I did engineering. I graduated from engineering college in 1987. And then I decided that I want to take part in policy making. So I went and studied economics. I did a master's, and then I did a PhD in economics. Meanwhile, I joined the government for a while. I worked in the United Nations. As I told you, economists work in various places. I worked in the government first, then I worked in the United Nations. Then I worked for one of the larger industry organizations called the Confederation of Indian Industry. Then I worked for a think tank called the India Development Foundation. And then I became the chief economist for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. All through, in the last 25 years, I have worked with some of the big economists in the country and learned and studied and written, and now I teach economics everywhere in a lot of places. So to all of you, therefore, if you are somebody who has an interest in solving problems, in solving companies' problems, in solving countries' problems, if you have an interest in analyzing data, if you want to understand and intelligently answer basic questions on why are people poor, how to get people out of poverty, what should the government do when there is such a big problem with COVID-19, what is the future of reservations in the country, should a government give subsidy to farmers, should the Indian government trade with China when China is coming and attacking us, what should be the price of oil, why does the dollar was equal to 65 rupees 3 years ago, now the dollar gets you 75 rupees. What should be the value of the dollar? Why does the dollar value fall? Why does the Reserve Bank of India give loans at 7% today when it was giving loans at 11% last year? What happens when the interest rate that is given by the Federal Bank in the United States reduces? These are the kind of questions that economists answer. They look into this and tell their clients what is the best thing to do. In companies, suppose you join Microsoft as an economist. The question that Satya Nadella will ask you is, please tell me what should be the price of Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word, the software, sells for 25,000 rupees per head if you want to buy it one time. If you want to do an annual subscription, it costs you 5,000 rupees. Now somebody is telling Satya Nadella that the best price is 5,000. Why is he not selling for 3,000? Why not for 10,000? If you join say Airtel, what should be the cost of Airtel's bandwidth? Should it be 1 rupee per 1 MB data? Of what should be the price of the voice call? How much should you price it? One paise per minute, 1 paise per second, or should you give free calls for the first 500 calls? Should the SMS cost 25 paisa or should it call 6 rupees? These are all the questions that economic analysis helps you to answer. When you go to a mall next time, look at the prices. You will see one company saying, buy at 50% discount. Another will say buy one get one free. Another will say buy one get three free, or a fourth will say buy four get fifth free. What are all these things? How do you make this decision? What is the right decision for you to do? Right? That is what an economics training teaches you to do. Pricing, costing, interest rates, cost of capital. What should you pay? How much should you pay your employees? Should everybody's salary go up by 5% every year? Should it go up by 10% every year? Should it not go up at all? These are the questions, again, that economics, using economic data, answer. In the country today, the question is, what should be the minimum pay that everybody should earn? Think about it. What is the minimum pay that people need? Suppose somebody is absolutely unskilled, has no job, is desperate for a job, and comes to you asking for doing anything, and you hire him or hire her. Should you pay a minimum wage to that person, or should you pay the least possible? He says, sir, आप कुछ भी दे दीजिए, मैं काम करता हूँ. Will you pay 500 rupees? Will you pay 5,000 rupees? Or should everybody in India get 10,000 rupees a month? In COVID times, there is a lockdown. People don't have money. How do we give them money? Should the government give them free food, or should the government say that we are transferring 6,000 rupees in your bank account every month? Donald Trump says that every American will get $1,200 every month in his or her account. What is the best way out? So I want to finish here. I want to stop here and say that this is a career which is very, very fascinating. It gets you into various kinds of places. Some of the big economists of the world have shaped the destiny of their country. When countries want to take decisions, they ask these economists. India used to ask people like Amartya Sen, who got a Nobel Prize in economics. Now this year's economics Nobel Prize has gone to Abhijit Banerjee. He is the one who advises various governments on what they should do to help the poor, to bring down inequality, to ensure that prices are stable, to ensure finally that the country is growing at a good, brisk pace. Unfortunately, our country right now does not believe in this. Our government is such that it does not want to take advice, and therefore you will find that they are making mistake after mistake, and the country's economy is going down every day. But if you take Bangladesh, right next door, very poor country, it is growing much faster than us. And that is because Bangladesh has some of the better economists in the world guiding the government. Okay, I'll stop here. And I see that there are some hands raised, some questions. So you can, Luqman, you can
More than
decide. Somebody from Bahrain has raised her hand. So
sure, sir. Sure, sir.
yeah,
Thank you so much,
please
sir,
let me
for
know.
your extempo, first of all, discussion and introduction about what the opportunities in economics are. I too have so many questions in my mind to ask you, but
Please,
if I find time, then I'll just definitely do that.
please.
So kindly raise your hand if you are willing to. I'm just trying to unmute you. You can unmute yourself by clicking on the mute button. I have already made asked to unmute to those who have raised hand. You can unmute yourself and straight away ask the question. Then it's up to sir to select the question and answer you. So first is Syed Asif Ali. I have asked you to unmute. You have to click OK and then you have to ask your question. Asif Ali, over to you.
All right, Asif. Yeah, what is your question?
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam. Ji.
Sir, what is the procedure, sir? How do we have to follow the education system after COVID-19? So the government is saying that they are going to start by August. So what is the best procedure,
Okay,
sir, we
Asif.
have to follow?
Right. So first thing, the government has no idea as to when it will start. They don't know. They are just keeping quiet right now. Schools and colleges are going to be very difficult to run when the infection is high, because so many children studying together, sitting next to each other, is going to be a disaster. So therefore, in my opinion, I don't think we are going to see schools and colleges opening very fast. Certainly not before October. In fact, if you see across the world, most colleges have declared that they are not going to have a class this year. 2020, they will not have a class. And almost everybody has moved into the online mode. So in my opinion, that is the best thing to do, that for this half year, whether in school or in college, every institution should move towards the online mode and then start doing regular classes next year. In fact, Cambridge University in the United Kingdom, one of the world's topmost universities, has already declared that this year, 2020-21, they will not have a single class. They are only going to do some courses online, otherwise the university will be shut for the year. So that is what it looks like, that all of you who are studying are going to have about 3 or 4 months of delay, after which you might have classes starting. Meanwhile, if online classes start, it is very good. Please join them. There are several ways of taking advantage of online classes, and you should all do that. All right, next.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Although economics is considered to be the mother of all social sciences, so any question can be related to economics. But I request all the participants to restrict their question to core economic thing, so that we take full advantage of sir's presence over here. So next hand is raised by Mr. Syed Munawar. I'm just asking him to unmute himself.
Salam sir, Munawar here.
Yes, Munawar.
क्या हाल है सर?
Yeah.
जी सर, first question ये है, if economic is so important, then why in the school it is being given less importance? For example, the social studies teacher are being considered as a stepson there.
बिल्कुल सही भाई.
That is the first question. The second is, for getting a job in economics, someone has to do a PG in economics or just a graduate is enough? Because we have seen that lots of graduate, like let's say BCom or engineering, they have to get something done. Otherwise, they'll get into call center and any kind of, like IT company, BPO and all. So what is the path after graduation to get into the economics?
चलिए, तो दोनों सवाल बड़े अच्छे सवाल हैं. पहला सवाल ये कि why is economics ignored in school, why is social science ignored? ये क्या हुआ ये कि हमारी पढ़ाई अनफॉर्चुनेटली इज गाइडेड बाय जॉब्स. हमेशा हम ये देखते हैं कि भाई पढ़ाई वो करो जिसमें नौकरी मिलेगी. तो बहुत पहले 100 साल पहले द ओनली जॉब अवेलेबल वाज दैट ऑफ अ लॉयर. तो सब लोग जाके लॉ पढ़ते थे 100 years ago. If you see, all the old people, Mahatma Gandhi, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, not Maulana Azad, but Hazrat Mohani, all of them used to go and become lawyers. Then there were too many lawyers, the law faculty just flopped, and therefore all the jobs started happening in the मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, फैक्ट्रीज बनना शुरू हुई तो एवरीबडी वांटेड, द ओनली जॉब्स वर इन फैक्ट्रीज, सो द ओनली वे टू गेट इनटू अ फैक्ट्री वाज टू डू इंजीनियरिंग और आईटीआई, और सो एवरीबडी वेंट एंड डिड इंजीनियरिंग. अब क्या उस तो इसी वजह से सोशल साइंस का कभी की बारी आई नहीं, बिकॉज सोशल साइंस पढ़ के कोई नौकरी थी नहीं. What happens is that when a country is really poor, then the only jobs available are the jobs या तो वकीलों के लिए क्योंकि everybody is fighting with each other, या in engineering because you set up small factories all over the country. So छोटी छोटी नौकरियां became available and therefore engineering became the only profession. Social science comes to a country when a country becomes developed. You will find that social scientists become important जब आप एक कुछ level पे पहुंच जाए. और इंडिया पिछले दिनों में has reached a certain, we are not very poor anymore. In the demarcation there are three kinds of countries: poor countries, middle income countries, high income countries. In the last 6 or 7 years we have become a middle income country. In middle income countries now you start looking at economic issues, how to develop fast, what is the wage to give, all the questions that I asked you. That is when social science becomes important. That is why you will find that only now social scientists are getting importance, and in the future, that is why, because India will continue to grow, social scientists will become more and more important. To your second question, how should one become get to be an economist? Yes, what you do is, my advice to everybody who wants to do any social science is that you should study maths very carefully. You know, it is very important to learn very good maths in class 9, 10, 11, 12. So do maths and then join some undergraduate course where you will study economics, mathematics, political science, sociology, whatever it is. And that will give you a solid base in learning economics, because economics, half of economics is mathematics. The other half is English. So you have to learn both these things, and that is what you will learn. You can get jobs straight away after a BA in economics. There are lots of jobs as business and data analyst that is available to you if you do a good economics degree, and if you learn enough computers and coding, which is now taught in every college, then you can get a job straight away after a BA. If you do an MA, then you can go to the other kind of jobs, the jobs that I was talking about. If you want to get into policy research, into teaching, into working with the government, then you must do an MA in economics and a PhD in economics. Those are the two questions that you asked. Who is next?
माशाल्लाह साहब बहुत बढ़िया. 2 points are very good to take from this answers. One is social science की कोई बारी आई नहीं, अभी लगता है बारी आ गई है.
Yes.
That's great. Next is Syed Moinuddin. So I'm just asking to unmute and ask your question, please.
Moin.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर.
वालेकुम सलाम.
सर मैं 12th क्लास का स्टूडेंट हूँ सर.
माशाल्लाह.
मेरा आपसे क्वेश्चन ये है कि हर साल नोबेल दिया जाता है, साइंस में देते तो इन्वेंट कर रहे थे तो देते, इकोनॉमिक्स में भी नोबेल देते, तो क्या हद से उन्हें देते, क्या इन्वेंशन कर रहे थे तो नोबेल देते उनको, इस बुनियाद पर नोबेल देते, क्या इन्वेंशन करने. और मैं भी कल नोबेल लाना वो है तो मैं कैसा पढ़ना इकोनॉमिक्स को, नोबेल लाना इकोनॉमिक्स में.
आपकी आवाज साफ नहीं आई, मगर आप मेरे को ये समझ में आया कि 12th क्लास में है, इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ना चाह रहे हैं, कैसा पढ़ना इकोनॉमिक्स, इज दैट द क्वेश्चन?
क्वेश्चन क्या है, मैं सुना नहीं दी आपकी आवाज. हेलो
क्या, बोलिए.
जी
साइंस में नोबेल देते तो इन्वेंट कर रहे तो नई चीज तो उनको नोबेल देते.
हाँ,
इकोनॉमिक्स में किस तरह नोबेल पास?
वेरी गुड, बहुत अच्छा सवाल है. तो फिजिक्स में, केमिस्ट्री में जब नोबेल प्राइज दिया जाता तो कोई नई चीज इजाद करे, कोई नया इन्वेंशन करे, तो उसमें दिया था. इकोनॉमिक्स में कोई नया तरीका अगर करे आप, तो जैसे अमर्त्य सेन थे, अमर्त्य सेन को 22 साल पहले नोबेल प्राइज मिला. क्यों मिला? क्योंकि अमर्त्य सेन पहला आदमी था जो दुनिया को ये बता सक रहा था कि एक कंट्री के डेवलप होने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए. तो अमर्त्य सेन ने ये कहा था, क्यों मिला उनको नोबेल प्राइज? अमर्त्य सेन ने ये कहा कि जिस मुल्क में डेमोक्रेटिक निजाम होता है वो मुल्क ज्यादा डेवलप होता है बनिस्बत उसके जहां पे डिक्टेटरशिप. और अमर्त्य सेन की ये बात और कई बातों की वजह से कई कंट्रीज डेवलप हुए. एक कंट्री जो बहुत डेवलप हुआ अमर्त्य सेन की बातें मान के, वो है बांग्लादेश. अभिजीत बैनर्जी को नोबेल प्राइज मिला इस साल। अभिजीत बैनर्जी ने ये दिया दुनिया को कि अभिजीत बैनर्जी शोड कि अगर आप गवर्नमेंट कोई एक चीज करती है तो उसका फायदा लोगों को हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, वो कैसे मेजर करना है। अब जैसे गवर्नमेंट बहुत बहुत करती ना भाई, हजारों लाखों रुपए खर्च करती, वो डैम बना दिए कहीं पे कुआं खोद दिए, कहीं पे स्कूल बना दिए, उससे लोगों का फायदा हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, ये कैसे मालूम करना। अगर आप 100 रुपए की बिल्डिंग बनाए तो 100 रुपए से पब्लिक को 110 रुपए का फायदा हो रहा है या 90 रुपए का फायदा हो रहा, ये अभिजीत बैनर्जी ये प्रोसेस इन्वेंट करे। ऐसी कई लोग हैं जो एक और नोबेल प्राइज विनर थे 14 साल पहले, रॉबर्ट ओमन इजराइल के इकोनॉमिस्ट हैं। रॉबर्ट ओमन ने ये स्टडी किया कि जंग करने से फायदा है या नुकसान है, और उन्होंने ये साबित किया कि जंग करना बिल्कुल अहमखाना चीज है। और इजरायली गवर्नमेंट को उन्होंने कहा कि जिससे बड़ी नाराज हो गई इजरायली गवर्नमेंट कि आप ये जो लगातार जंग करते रहते हैं फलस्तीन से और इजिप्ट से, इससे इजराइल को इतना बहुत सा नुकसान है। तो ऐसा तो इकोनॉमिक्स में नोबेल प्राइज इन चीजों से मिलती है। इकोनॉमिक्स के एक नोबेल प्राइज विनर थे मोहम्मद यूनुस, बांग्लादेश के। मोहम्मद यूनुस को क्यों मिला नोबेल प्राइज? मोहम्मद यूनुस ने ये कहा कि गरीबों के लिए सबसे अच्छी इमदाद, अगर इफ यू वांट टू हेल्प द पुअर देन व्हाट शुड यू डू। आप लोग सोचिए कि अगर आपको हम फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर बना दें और बोले कि भाई आप गरीबों की मदद कीजिए, तो आप क्या करेंगे? क्या गरीब बच्चों को फ्री में स्कूल भेजेंगे? क्या गरीब बच्चों को पैसे देंगे? क्या गरीब बच्चों को यूनिफॉर्म देंगे? क्या उनको खाना खिलाएंगे? सबसे अच्छा तरीका क्या है? एक कोई चीज करिए आप जिसकी वजह से गरीबी दूर हो सकती। यूनुस ने कहा कि the best way of helping the poor is not by giving them education, not by giving them clothes, not by giving them food, not by giving them a house, but by giving them a loan. उन्होंने कहा हर गरीब को बुलाओ और उसको बगैर कोई पेपर वर्क के, बगैर कोई पूछताछ के 500 रुपए का, 1000 रुपए का, 2000 रुपए का लोन दे दो और बोलो तुम जाओ, लौटाना है तो लौटाओ, नहीं लौटाना है मतलब। और उसकी वजह से लाखों लोगों में तब्दीली आ गई। उसकी वजह से मोहम्मद यूनुस को नोबेल प्राइज मिला। तो इस तरह के एग्जांपल्स हैं जिसकी वजह से इकोनॉमिस्ट को नोबेल प्राइज मिलता है। अच्छा सवाल। कौन है नेक्स्ट?
थैंक यू सर। नेक्स्ट इज एहतशामुद्दीन। प्लीज अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ एंड आस्क योर क्वेश्चन।
हेलो
जी एहतशाम।
जी सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट लिसनिंग टू एनी इकोनॉमिस्ट रिगार्डिंग आवर इकोनॉमी।
Yeah.
So what should a common man do to overcome this current situation? Like there is pandemic and people are losing jobs, they don't have money and all.
तो बहुत बड़ा सवाल पूछ लिया आपने। वेरी डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन। See what the government should have been doing, and this a lot of us have been telling. अभिजीत बैनर्जी जिनकी मैं बात बार-बार कर रहा हूँ, उन्होंने तो लिखा भी है कि इस दौरान the government should do one thing, and that is it should give money to everybody. क्योंकि इन दिनों आपको बता दूं रफली 15 करोड़ लोगों की नौकरियां चली गई। अब ये 15 करोड़ लोग खाएंगे क्या? 139 मिलियन पीपल, लास्ट वीक का फिगर है कि 139 मिलियन पीपल के पास अब एक पैसा भी सेविंग नहीं बचा, क्योंकि लास्ट 3 महीने में जितनी सेविंग थी सब खत्म हो गई। तो अब इतने बहुत से लोगों को, 13, 14, 15 करोड़ लोगों का को कौन मदद करेगा? Obviously, the simple answer is the government. The government should go and give everybody money. हम कई दिनों से लिख रहे हैं कि भाई 5,000 रुपए कम से कम हर घर के अकाउंट में डाल दिया जाए। जिनके पास अकाउंट नहीं है उनके पास जाके उनको 5,000 रुपए दे दीजिए। आप 5,000 रुपए अगर आप दे दें तो लोग खाना भी खा लेंगे, थोड़ा किराया भी दे लेंगे, थोड़े पैसे बचे रहेंगे, कुछ दवा ववा खरीद लेंगे। लेकिन चूंकि गवर्नमेंट नहीं कर रही, हमारी गवर्नमेंट बिल्कुल ही नालायक टाइप गवर्नमेंट है, जो जिसको कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं है अपने लोगों की। तो अब ये हो गया है कि अब हमारी जिम्मेदारी हो गई। तो आप देखिए कि कई ऐसे लोग, और इस ग्रुप में भी मैं देखता हूँ बहुत से लोग ऐसे हैं हु आर कलेक्टिंग मनी, जो अब जिस लोगों से फंड्स रेज कर रहे हैं, जा जाके लोगों की मदद कर रहे हैं। तो अब इंडिया में ये हो गया है कि गरीबों की मदद और लोग करने लगे हैं। बहुत सारी सिविल सोसाइटी जिसको कहते हैं या वॉलंटरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, ये लोग जाके पैसे बांट रहे हैं, खाना बांट रहे हैं। आप देख रहे होंगे कि कई लोग जो हैं वो राशन वाशन बांट रहे हैं। अब वो वही तरीका है। फॉर द कॉमन मैन व्हाट इज इम्पोर्टेंट इज कि अगर आपके पास नौकरी है तो बहुत अच्छा है, आप वो बनाए रखिए, उसको छोड़िए ओड़िए मत। नौकरी नहीं है, थोड़ी सी सेविंग है, तो उसको बहुत मोहतात होके खर्च करें। खुसूसन ऐसे लोग जो हु आर लिविंग अब्रॉड, दे विल लूज देयर जॉब्स बिकॉज पेट्रोल की कीमतें गिर रही हैं, वहां पे भी ऑटोमेशन हो रहा है। दे शुड ऑल्सो एंश्योर दैट दे कीप देयर मनी वेरी सेफली। इस दौरान बिल्कुल यानी जो अहम एक्सपेंडिचर है बस वही करें और कुछ ना करें। जितनी सेविंग हो सकती है वो बचा के रखें, और ये उम्मीद करें कि 3 4 6 महीने बाद जब इकोनॉमी रिकवर हो जाएगी तो तब फिर नौकरियां मिलना शुरू हो जाएंगी। लेकिन एवरीबडी, all of you, all the 100 of you on this call, please note what I am saying, that in the next 6 months all of you should be very careful, very frugal, very particular about the money you spend. And because not only is it important for you, अगर आपके पास जरा ज्यादा पैसे हैं तो वो बहुत काम आएंगे किसी गरीब के। तो इसी वजह से अगले 6 महीने बहुत मोहतात रहिए। ओके, नेक्स्ट।
ऑलराइट सर, वैसे हम जो आपको रिक्वेस्ट किए थे टाइम के लिए, वो टाइम तो हो चुका है। इट्स अप टू यू टू टेक एनी मोर क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम एनी
नहीं, लेट्स फिनिश। देयर आर सम 3 4 questions more, I will take
yes
them.
if you agree, what I can do, I can unmute them one by one. We can take all the
Yes.
questions at once, and if we can relate some questions and
I
answer
think
at once.
that is best. That is
All
best.
right, so we have got about 6 people raising hand. I'm going to unmute one after the other. First is Mr. Balaji Selvaraj. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. Please keep it precise so that we can move ahead to the next question. Thank you. Mr. Balaji, please.
Sir, I'm preparing for this US exam. And the
Very
economics is the
good.
part. So,
Mr. Balaji, there is some network issue, I suppose, some disturbance. Kindly check your network. Difficulty in your voice.
Or Balaji, can you hear me? Can you hear me? What you can do is that if you have a mic, headphone or a earphone, just take that off, because there is an echo in what you're saying. Speak into the phone.
clear.
No.
Can't hear you.
Please check your network. Meanwhile, I'll just go to other participant and come back to you.
Yes.
SZ20. SZP20. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, sir.
हाँ, बोलिए।
Sir, you have told we have to move on to internet online education.
Yes.
What about remote villages without network facility?
Very good. Good question. Next.
Next is Mr. Farah Numanuddin.
हेलो।
Yes, Numan.
Yes, Numan.
सर।
वालेकुम सलाम जी।
जी सर, एक्चुअली मैं मेरा इंटरमीडिएट कंप्लीट करा, तो आप सजेस्ट क्या करते हैं अगर किसी को इकोनॉमिक्स ज्वाइन करना है तो उन लोग को स्टेप क्या लेना चाहिए?
ओके, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट।
मेहदी हुसैन।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर। सर मेरे पास कपल ऑफ क्वेश्चंस है कि एक्चुअली मींस इंडिया मींस चाइना को इंडिपेंडेंस मिली इंडिया के 1 साल बाद। नाउ और चाइना इज मींस इकोनॉमिकली इतना डेवलप हो गया, इसकी जीडीपी इंडिया से इतनी ज्यादा है दैट इट इज कॉम्पिटिंग विद यूएस। सो व्हाई इंडिया इज टिल मींस उसकी जीडीपी भी इतनी कम है और प्लानिंग कमीशन में जो भी बना है हम इतने वो मींस सक्सीड भी हुए तो उतने मींस अच्छे से नहीं हुए। और एक ये था कि मींस इकोनॉमी, जैसे आई एम डूइंग माय डिग्री इन इकोनॉमिक्स ओनली, दैट जैसा कि टीचर्स पढ़ाते हैं हमको, जैसा थियरी पार्ट है ज्यादातर इकोनॉमी में, so we didn't get concentration. Though I love to study economics, but most of the teachers treat means खाली वो लोग याद आता है बस वो सिर्फ रीड करते रहते कि ये economics, so we didn't get a concentration in that. One more question कि इंडिया की जो इकोनॉमी है is dominated by a village means farmers.
Yeah.
So हम अगर इंडिया की इकोनॉमी को डेवलप करना है, so what should be the necessity means decisions लेना चाहिए गवर्नमेंट
Okay. चलिए, very good question. अगला
next is Wasim bin Israr.
Hello, sir. Rajiv, what I want to know is overpopulation a problem for what you say for a country like India? Means should we focus on depopulation or slow population growth?
Okay. Yeah. Next.
Ali. Next, Mr. Ali. Ali, unmute yourself here.
जी अली.
My question to you is, we have number of good economics in the world, sir, but we have not withstand to the present situation that invisible microorganism has collapsed big economics. What is the reason, sir? And next question to you is, you have raised many good points for future in economics, but a student from engineering background can have how accessibility to this subject, new subjects.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Anybody?
Nida, Sayyida Nida. Just a couple of more, a few more.
जी हाँ,
Sayyida
जी
Nida.
हाँ.
Sir, I really agree with what you said about data analytics. And we know that this is a thing, this is the next level thing. And we already know that India is such good in a service industry. We took a very big leap from industrial sector to service sector, and we are profiting, we have been profiting a lot from it. And data analytics is something that is taught in strategic business leader, or, you know, like I said, economist in a degree in bachelor in economics. So what programs or what initiatives have been taken to, you know, let people know about data analytics? If there are certain programs, certain initiatives that have been taken place, or, you know, we still have to make people aware of them, because that's a huge industry. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Yeah.
Balaji, one more try.
Can I say?
Yeah, please.
Sir, I'm preparing for the UPSC exams.
Very
So
good.
can you please get for this economics subject? Because we facing issues in the economic survey report and many schemes that is governed by central government and many state government. So how to correlate, how to make it easier way to for this our preparation level. This one.
Excellent.
And again,
Excellent.
can you brief about this Atmanirbhar scheme, sir?
Okay.
Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
around 20 lakh crores are invested, that is decided. But in reality, no one is decided. In MSME level,
Okay.
there is no reality is there.
Thank you.
Okay. Abrar, Mr. Akbar.
Hello, Mr. Khan, Akbar here.
जी जी.
I work for one of the international bank. So, due to the current situation, will it have any impact on the pay reviews at the end of the year?
Very good. Yeah.
Last two questions, sir. One from Mr. Nayak.
Mm-hmm.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर.
वंशाम जी.
हाँ सर, मैं किसान के बैकग्राउंड से हूँ सर मैं एकदम.
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
तो आपसे सवाल ये है सर, जिस तरह इंदिरा गांधी ने बैंक्स को नेशनलाइज किया सर, जिस तरह आज किसान आज सुसाइड कर रहा सर, तो हम एग्रीकल्चर को नेशनलाइज नहीं कर सकते क्या सर? अरे तो उसका
Okay.
इम्पैक्ट क्या था सर?
Good question. जी.
Last
और
is Mr. Khaja. One last question, sir. Khaja. Yes, Mr. Khaja.
Assalamualaikum, sir. What my
Wonderful.
question is, if a common person has any policy regarding anything which suggests for government, how can he approach?
Very good.
That's my question. Thank you. Jazakallah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello, sir. We are unable to hear you.
Yeah.
Please.
Now, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. we can.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, good questions. Let me answer them one by one. तो पहला सवाल अच्छा सवाल था कि ये सब ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन की बात हो रही, सब जो है वो जूम और वेबिनार फलाना कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उनका क्या होगा जिनके पास इंटरनेट नहीं है? ये बहुत अच्छा सवाल. दिस इज अ ह्यूज प्रॉब्लम. आई डोंट नो whether the person who asked this question understands how big a problem it is. Let me just give you an idea. आइडिया ये है कि शायद इंडिया में among all the students there are 278 million students in India now. यानी 27 करोड़ बच्चे जो हैं पढ़ रहे हैं जीरो से लेके PhD तक. इन 27 करोड़ में अगर आप अंदाजा लगाएं कि how many have access to computer, laptop, smartphone and internet, तो सबसे ज्यादा नंबर एक एस्टिमेट ये है कि शायद हमारे पास 11% ऐसे लोग हैं जिनके पास ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन की सहूलियत है, 11%, which means that 89%, 90% of our students cannot take advantage of online education. That is a huge problem. And all the talk that we are doing कि online पढ़ाई होनी चाहिए, online पढ़ना चाहिए, is only for 10% people. So that is a problem. Online education is okay for all of you who are listening to me in this conversation, but it is not okay for the millions of children out there who have no access to इंटरनेट एंड कंप्यूटर्स. आधे गांव में तो अभी तक 12 घंटे बिजली भी नहीं आती. सो देयरफॉर the online education is not a solution. We have to think of other solutions. Can we do education on radio? Can we set up community TVs in every village? ये अमित शाह अगर कैंपेन करना चाह रहे हैं तो वो रातों रात 1000 टीवी लगा देते हैं गांव में. तो कैन वी नॉट पुट अप वन टेलीविजन सेट जिसमें 10 बजे से 1 बजे तक सिर्फ पढ़ाई होगी. तो ये सब सॉल्यूशंस ढूंढना पड़ेगा. राइट नाउ द गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन डूइंग एनीथिंग लाइक दैट. So therefore online this year's education is going to be serious problem for a majority of our students. The second question was, what should I do after intermediate if you want to be an economist? You see, the beauty about economics is that you can do anything after intermediate. आप अगर B.Com कर लें तब भी इकोनॉमिस्ट हो सकते हैं. आप अगर BSc करें, you know, one subject that helps you learn economics very easily is physics. You will when you learn economics, you will learn concepts like elasticity and utility and so on, which is very very close to physics. तो अगर आप BSc फिजिक्स में करें तब भी फायदा होगा, अगर आप BA मैथ्स करें तब भी फायदा हो. तो इकोनॉमिक्स का ये एडवांटेज है कि आप जो चाहें करें अंडर ग्रेजुएशन में. अगर आप मैथ्स, फिजिक्स, इंग्लिश, कंप्यूटर साइंस ये सब करते हैं तो आपको यकीनन फायदा होगा. बट डोंट वरी, यू कैन डू एनी सब्जेक्ट and still learn economics. I did engineering and I became an economist. Raghuram Rajan, बहुत बड़े economist, did engineering and then became an economist. But if you know that you want to be an economist, then take a economics, maths, computer science or economic maths, physics. ऐसा कोई option अगर हो आपके college में तो ये आप लें, and then you can proceed to do a master's in economics. The third set of questions was the comparison between India and China. ये बहुत लंबा है, तो मैं पूरे 20 घंटे के कोर्स में पढ़ाता हूँ, लेकिन 4 लाइन में अगर एक्सप्लेन करना है तो इंडिया चाइना में फर्क ये रहा कि 1950 में इंडिया was a better country than China. We had more income, we were better off. But उसके बाद हुआ ये कि China invested more in agriculture and education and we did not. हमारे पास अभी भी 25% आबादी को लिखना पढ़ना नहीं आता है. इस वजह से so China's advantage was that they made people educated, they made people skilled, and they ensured that the entire country was uplifted at the same time. And they also, what they also did was that they provided electricity across the country. उसकी वजह से हर जगह इंडस्ट्री बन गई, and therefore the Chinese could compete with the Americans. We did not do that. The second question that the same person asked was, the teachers are very poor and therefore while I am interested in economics, what should I do? देखिए आजकल ना teacher is not very relevant. टीचर की कोई खास अहमियत है नहीं, क्योंकि हम करते क्या है, मैं टीचर हूँ, मैं करता क्या हूँ, मैं जब आपको आके पढ़ाता हूँ तो मैं बोलता हूँ भाई इकोनॉमिक्स में पॉल सैमुअलसन ने ये डेफिनेशन दिया और डेविड राइकार्डो ने इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड के बारे में ये कहा और डैनी रॉड्रिक ये कहते हैं, पॉल क्रूगमैन ये कहते हैं, मिल्टन फ्रीडमैन ये कहते हैं. मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ, मैं आई एम टीचिंग यू व्हाट अ लॉट ऑफ अदर पीपल हैव सेड. दैट इज ऑल अवेलेबल देयर नाउ. टुडे आपको अगर अमर्त्य सेन की इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ना है तो एक जरिया है कि मैं पढ़ाऊं आके, दूसरा है कि आप अमर्त्य सेन को सुन लें. All of Amartya Sen's lectures are there on YouTube. So there is a lot of material available, a lot of online teaching material available that you can access. So आपको teacher अगर नहीं पढ़ा पा रहा है तो that should not come in the way of learning good economics. The final question was, what do we do about rural economy? I think that's again a very big subject, but the simple thing to do to rural economy is to ensure कि हर गांव में बिजली हो, हर गांव में इंटरनेट हो और हर गांव में सड़क हो. That is the thing that we have to do. Prime Minister Modi 6 साल पहले आके first thing he had promised was एक program called Digital Bharat. He said 2018 तक हर गांव में इंटरनेट होगा. अभी तक हर गांव में इलेक्ट्रिसिटी भी नहीं पहुंची. Forget about internet. एक और सवाल, अच्छा सवाल ये था कि इतने बड़े इकोनॉमिस्ट हैं लेकिन किसी ने कोविड प्रेडिक्ट नहीं किया. वेरी ट्रू. इकोनॉमिस्ट जो हैं कई चीजें प्रेडिक्ट नहीं कर पाते और कोविड जो एक बहुत ही इतना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है वो किसी फोरकास्ट में नहीं आ सका. हालांकि आई मस्ट टेल यू that for the last 15-20 years there are economists and epidemiologists. ये बात इकोनॉमिस्ट ज्यादा नहीं करते, ये वो इकोनॉमिस्ट करते हैं जो हेल्थ में काम करते हैं और डॉक्टर्स हैं जो एपिडेमिक्स स्टडी करते हैं. इन्होंने कई दिनों से दे हैड सेट कि एक ऐसा फ्लू आने वाला है, एक ऐसा वायरस आने वाला है, लेकिन हमारे पॉलिटिशियन अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड, अमेरिका में ट्रम्प, हमारे मोदी, किसी ने सुनी नहीं बात और तैयारी नहीं की. इंजीनियरिंग से इकोनॉमिक्स कैसे पढ़े? मैं इंजीनियरिंग करके इकोनॉमिक्स में आया. इंजीनियरिंग करने का फायदा ये होता है कि आप इंजीनियरिंग में 6-7 कोर्स मैथ्स के करते हैं और उस वजह से आपको मैथमेटिक्स और नंबर समझना बड़ा आसान हो जाता है. इसीलिए जो इंजीनियरिंग कर लेता है वो उसको इकोनॉमिक्स समझना या सीखना बहुत आसान हो जाता है. डेटा एनालिसिस, बहुत अच्छा सवाल किया आपने मैडम. That is a very important thing, as you pointed out. That is where most jobs are. I told you that there are 25,000 jobs available today in India, 5,000 in Hyderabad. So, and it's unfortunate that most of our children do not understand this. It is very important कि हम स्कूल से ही बच्चों को data से आगाह कराएं. They get them to understand what data means, how to construct tables, simple tools of learning how to do an Excel sheet, how to look at graphs, how to calculate slopes. That is what we have to show them. And we have to ensure that everybody gets familiar with data. A lot of our children get very unnerved. They get very afraid when they see a lot of data. That should be taken away, and that can be done if we introduce data to them very early in school itself. One question, very difficult question for me, was that you work in an international brand. What will happen to pay revisions? Very difficult question. If I am being very honest with you, then this year there is no question of any increments, but it is quite likely that most of you who are working with big brands are going to see a drastic pay reduction. Some people may even lose jobs, but because the consumption pattern is very poor, people are not buying. And that is why you will find that it is quite likely that salaries can go down, will go down. Please be prepared for it. Save as much as you can, spend as little as you can. Be very careful about how you keep your money. Don't put it in any share that you don't know about, where the value can collapse. Be very, very safe and very sure about the money that you have. For Balaji, who is studying for the UPSC, economics, Balaji, is very important. It fetches a lot of marks. It is important in your prelims, in your mains, in your interview. I would suggest 2 things for you to do. One, every week read economist.com. The economist.com is a very easy magazine to read, and this is not just for Balaji, this is for all of you. All of you should go to economist.com. It is the world's best magazine right now. It is available on the internet. The problem is it is not free, so you will have to subscribe. But those of you who can afford to subscribe, economist.com should do that. It is the best way of learning economics, economic policy, and international economics. Balaji, Atmanirbhar Bharat is a very old scheme. This is what Gandhiji used to talk about when he talked about self-reliance. Today, to talk about self-reliance in a globalized world where our imports are roughly 20% of GDP, I don't think it is going to work, because in the globalized world, a lot of the economy depends on imports and exports. Atmanirbharta means no trade, and no trade is not possible in today's world, simply because most of our inputs come from outside. You know, all our electrical machinery comes from China. 70% of the ingredients that go into the pharmaceutical sector, they are called active pharmaceutical ingredients, come from China. If we don't get that, then 70% of our pharma sector is going to close down. So Atmanirbharta is a very populist political statement. It has no economic value. What should a common agriculture? You are from agriculture. Should we nationalize agriculture? See, nationalizing agriculture means that the government should take away all the farmlands from everybody. Institutions. It could not run banks, and that is why our banking sector is in a problem. It cannot run Air India. That is why Air India is running into such losses. So therefore, nationalizing agriculture might not be a very good idea. But what we should be doing is helping every farmer. Every farmer must get a minimum support price. Every farmer must get input subsidies. Every farmer must get a basic income, and every farmer must get some insurance against price shocks or weather shocks. The final question: how can a common person contribute to policy making? Very good question. The one way in which common people can contribute to policy making is by exercising their vote. Don't vote for somebody whose policy you don't like. That is the best way to do it. But the other way to do that is that almost every ministry now on its website uh, posts the latest policy. So, for example, if you go to the Ministry of HRD today, the Ministry of HRD is asking this question that to all parents and all students, that do you want online classes or do you want regular classes? They are asking you to give your opinion. So like that, the Ministry of Civil Aviation is asking whether Government of India should sell Air India or not. The Ministry of Railways is asking whether railways should be privatized or not. So all these questions our government is putting up on various websites, on its ministries' websites, and asking us. They give an email, they're giving a web form where you can give your feedback. So that is how common people can contribute to economic policy. I hope I have answered all the questions. If there are a few more, I must apologize because the time is up. We've been with this session for more than an hour now.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
must thank all of you for listening very attentively. It is not an easy area, but all of you who want to take up economics as a career, who want to take this seriously, I am inviting you. I am always available. You can ask any question anytime later on. You can get my number or my contact, or you can approach Gyanam and they will help you get across to me. Feel free to ask any question. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sparing so much of your time on a weekend. Although weekends have become irrelevant now because of the lockdown,
yes,
but still, a Sunday remains a Sunday. Your answers have been very, very informative. They were to the point. And one more important thing which I have learned from this is economics is half mathematics and half English. So
yes.
I'm sure many students will take quite good learnings from this point also. MEC in intermediate is a very powerful course. I could relate that mathematics and economics the students study at 11th and 12th. So if they have developed enough maturity by 10th, some schools are only successful in developing so maturity in students till 10th. So they can study MEC and make a good career plan for being an economist in the future. At the end, again, I thank all the participants. I thank Professor Sir for sparing so much of your time. In future also, we look forward to receive a lot of learning from you, sir.
Inshallah. Zaru. All the best to all of you. I am sure you will do well. Use this time that you have to study as much as you can on using various online resources. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jazakallah, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Sir, can I end the meeting?
Yes, please.